Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Historiflix Special Stories. We have interesting videos every day. Hit the like button and help us reach 3,000 subscribers. In 1922, a 15-year-old boy started working at a small automobile repair shop in Tokyo, Japan. The owner, questioning whether the boy was suitable for such work, assigned him to clean the workshop and babysit his child. At the time, no one paid much attention to him, but they had no idea who this boy, Soichiro Honda, would become in the future. Decades later, this boy, Soichiro Honda, would be competing with some of the world's biggest car brands, while also owning the largest motorcycle manufacturer. This is the story of how a poor Japanese boy went from being a babysitter to building the multi-billion-dollar brand Honda Motors. The story begins in 1906 in Tenryu, Shizuoka, a small village at the foot of Mount Fuji. This is where Honda and his wife welcomed their first child, Soichiro Honda. Soichiro's father was a local blacksmith in the village who also repaired bicycles in his spare time, while his mother was a skilled weaver. Raised in difficult economic circumstances, Soichiro lost 5 of his siblings to health problems when he was a child. When Soichiro was 8 years old, he heard a loud noise that caught his attention while he was walking in his neighborhood. He followed the sound and found a large piece of metal, a strange contraption rolling on 4 wheels. This machine was a Ford Model T, and Soichiro was captivated by what he had just witnessed. "It was the first car I saw. What an excitement!" Soichiro couldn't understand how the car could move with its own power, and when the car passed by him, without thinking, Soichiro started running after it on the road as fast as he could. This experience left a mark on his life that would forever change the way he would engage with machines. Soichiro learned how to wet the blades of agricultural machines and repair bicycles. He was fascinated by all kinds of engines, but hated the idea of going to school and instead spent most of his childhood helping his father with the bicycle repair business. His lack of interest in school affected his grades so much that he used an eraser he found to forge his family stamp on his report card so that his father wouldn't have to sign the paper and see his grades. Eventually, he was caught, and his father punished him by making him kneel for a whole day without lunch. He was fascinated by all types of engines, but hated the idea of going to school and instead spent most of his childhood helping his father with their bicycle repair business. His lack of interest in school affected his grades so much that he used a rubber eraser he found to forge his family stamp on his report card so that his father wouldn't have to sign the papers and see his grades. Eventually, he was caught and his father punished him by making him kneel without lunch for an entire day. In 1922, Soichiro Honda came across a magazine advertisement for Art Shokai, an automotive service company based in Tokyo. Known as one of the most popular car services in the city, he saw an opportunity for employment there and sent a letter to the company inquiring about a job. Fortunately, Art Shokai responded positively, and at the age of 15, Soichiro decided to drop out of school, leave his home, and embark on a journey to pursue his dreams in Tokyo. Upon arriving in the city, Soichiro was impressed by the fast-paced and different lifestyle compared to the village where he grew up. At Art Shokai, owner Yuzo Sakakibara had already reserved a job for Soichiro, which involved taking care of the owner's son. Although he didn't receive any money in the first few months, Soichiro stayed with the company, motivated by the shame of returning home as a failure and facing his parents. Eventually, the owner recognized Soichiro's talent and invited him to assist with the increasing demand for automotive services. Starting with small tasks, Soichiro gradually became a reliable mechanic in the company. His talent and dedication caught the owner's attention, and he decided to adopt Soichiro and teach him not only mechanical repairs, but also the business side of the industry. At that time, Sakakibara's company specialized in automobile and bicycle repairs. Although cars were a luxury for the upper class and most available models were imported, Soichiro quickly familiarized himself with a wide range of vehicles, including Lincolns, Mercedes-Daimlers, and various motorcycles. He was completely dedicated to expanding his knowledge and understanding of automotive mechanics. It was through Art Shokai that Soichiro was also introduced to the world of motorsports. In 1923, Sakakibara began building race cars with the help of his workers, including Soichiro. The first model built was the Art Daimler, made with a second-hand Daimler engine. The second model was the Curtiss, built with another second-hand engine taken from an American Curtiss biplane and placed in the chassis of an American car, the Mitchell. The Curtiss participated in the 5th Japanese Automobile Championship race in 1924 and came in first place with Sakakibara's brother as the driver and Soichiro as the accompanying engineer. This experience was special for the 17-year-old, and from then on, motorsports became his passion. In 1926, Soichiro Honda was about to be recruited for military service, but it was discovered that he was colorblind and therefore unfit to serve. Fortunately for Soichiro, this meant that he could continue working at Art Shokai, the automotive parts workshop where he had started his career. 2 years later, in 1928, Yuzo Sakakibara, the owner of Art Shokai, decided to expand his business and open a branch in Hamamatsu. Sakakibara saw no one better to lead the new branch than his young apprentice Soichiro. During the 1930s, the Hamamatsu branch of Art Shokai, led by Soichiro Honda, grew rapidly from a one-man operation to a team of 30 people. Soichiro's mechanical skills and racing talents helped him stand out among his colleagues. He even built a racing car, the Hamamatsu, within his workshop, setting a new speed record by driving at 120 kilometers per hour, a record that lasted for 20 years in Japan. However, in 1936, Soichiro had a serious accident while competing in a race in the suburbs of Tokyo. He suffered a fractured left arm, dislocated shoulder, and facial injuries, and spent several months recovering in the hospital. Despite his injuries, Soichiro returned to the racing track just 4 months later. However, his family was not pleased with his decision, and after several discussions, he never raced again. Feeling tired and discouraged with his repair work, Soichiro decided to focus on manufacturing car parts. Soichiro proposed to transform the Hamamatsu branch of Art Shokai into a separate company for the purpose of manufacturing piston rings, but the shareholders of the company did not agree. Determined to move forward, Soichiro decided to start his own company to manufacture piston rings and founded Tokai Seiki Heavy Industry with the help of his close friend, Shichiro Kato, who assumed the role of company president. Together, Soichiro and Kato worked tirelessly on the new venture and founded the Art Piston Ring Research Center. Soichiro spent his days at the repair shop in Hamamatsu and his nights developing pistons. After facing a series of challenges and failures, Soichiro decided to enroll as a part-time student at the Hamamatsu Industrial Institute to enhance his knowledge of metallurgy. In 1939, Soichiro finally succeeded in creating a functional and successful piston, but despite his confidence in the project, he had not yet achieved the desired quality. However, this did not stop him from leaving his job at Art Shokai, handing over the branch to some of his apprentices, and dedicating himself full-time to his new company. Although Honda started producing pistons continuously, his creation still had flaws. When Toyota contacted Soichiro to manufacture pistons, only 3 out of the 50 presented met the company's standards. This was a major setback for him, but instead of giving up, Honda spent the next few years traveling across Japan to learn more about piston ring manufacturing. He visited steel companies and universities to enhance his knowledge and experience. Thanks to his perseverance and dedication, Soichiro gained confidence in his knowledge and experience and took over the leadership of the Art Piston Ring Research Center. This time, the result was astounding. Soichiro Honda's journey exemplifies his determination and passion to improve the quality of his products and services. His achievements and innovations were crucial to the evolution of Honda Motors and the automotive industry as a whole. Things were going well for Soichiro and his company, but in 1941, Japan entered the Pacific War and Honda was placed under the direct command of the Ministry of Munitions the following year. Soichiro was demoted from president to senior director, and Toyota acquired 45% of the company's shares. The situation worsened as many employees were drafted into military service, and Soichiro did everything he could to keep the company afloat. However, the worst was yet to come. In 1944, the signs of air raids intensified in Japan, and Hamamatsu, where Honda was headquartered, was bombed. Soichiro's factory was destroyed, and a second misfortune occurred in January 1945 when an earthquake devastated the region and toppled the Iwata plant. Soichiro almost lost everything, and after Japan's surrender in August 1945, he decided to sell what remained of his company to Toyota for a sum of 450,000 yen. The sale was publicly announced, and Soichiro took some time to think about what the future would hold. However, the country's situation only worsened. A year later, Japan experienced an economic collapse, and shortages of food, clothing, and shelter threatened the lives of its citizens. Resources were rationed, and Soichiro couldn't find enough fuel to drive his car to the market and buy food for his family. Honda was in ruins, but Soichiro didn't give up. He knew that the key to the country's recovery lay in the production of consumer goods. One day, Soichiro Honda came across a generator engine that had been used by the Imperial Japanese Army during the war to provide power to a wireless radio. Fascinated with the engine, he studied its workings and had an innovative idea: what if he attached the engine to a bicycle? While this practice of attaching an engine to a bicycle was already common in Europe, Soichiro realized it could be a viable solution for Japan, which needed a cheap mode of transportation. In 1946, he used his old workshop to establish the Honda Technical Research Institute, with the goal of finding a way to manufacture motorcycles. There, he led a team of 12 men who worked together to turn his idea into reality. With some engines he found and other spare parts, the team managed to assemble a motorcycle that quickly became a success. Orders started pouring in from different parts of the country, and Soichiro was running out of used engines. That's when he decided to design and develop his own engine. In 1947, the Taipei engine was completed, and for the first time, Honda was able to produce a motorcycle with its own engine. The name Honda was stamped on the machine, marking the beginning of a new era in the company's history. In 1948, Soichiro founded Honda Motor Company with the aim of manufacturing motorcycles to help Japanese workers commute. However, to expand his production, he needed more money. To solve this problem, Soichiro had an unusual idea. He wrote an open letter to all 18,000 bicycle shop owners in Japan, presenting a solution to boost the country's economy. Around 3,000 owners responded positively, providing the necessary funds to start large-scale production. In 1949, Honda produced its first complete motorcycle, the Model D. While it was a milestone for the company, the Model D was large and heavy, which limited its popularity. Soichiro wasn't satisfied with that and worked tirelessly to create a smaller and lighter motorcycle. After 3 years of trial and error, he finally succeeded in producing the Super Cub, which became a huge success and received the Emperor's Prize. The partnership with Takeo Fujisawa, who provided capital and financial and marketing strategies, helped consolidate the success of Honda Motor Company. In 1958, Honda launched the Super Cub in the United States with a price of only $295, one-fourth the price of other American motorcycles. Thanks to the company's marketing and engineering skills, Honda quickly surpassed its competitors, including Triumph and Harley-Davidson, in their respective local markets. At the same time, Soichiro also expanded the Honda brand into the world of racing. He traveled around the world to study racing and examine the motorcycles of his competitors, becoming an influential figure in the racing world. For manufacturing companies, racing was more than a sport, it was the ultimate platform to showcase their cars and motorcycles to the rest of the world. During his racing career, Honda always strove to exceed the standards set by its competitors. The company would take home the knowledge gained and work hard to improve. This attitude allowed Honda to evolve from a poor result in its first international race in 1954 to winning the manufacturer's team at the Isle of Man TT in 1959, the world's premier motorcycle race. The victory at the Isle of Man TT in 1959 and again in 1961 put Honda on the map. The company became the world's largest motorcycle manufacturer in the 1960s, after producing 10 million motorcycles since the launch of the Honda Dream in 1949. However, Honda's founder, Soichiro Honda, had a big dream since childhood: to enter the automotive industry. When Soichiro announced that Honda would enter the automotive market, many people warned that it was a huge risk and that the company should focus only on motorcycles. At that time, Honda only produced motorcycles, while other Japanese companies like Nissan and Toyota competed in the automotive market. Japanese officials tried to convince Soichiro that the country did not need another car manufacturer, but he did not listen. In 1963, Honda launched its first automobile, the T360 mini pickup truck, a small reliable truck. Unfortunately, the mini pickup did not receive much attention and was followed by the company's first sports car, the S500, a two-door roadster with a 4-speed transmission capable of reaching 80 miles per hour. Despite being a smaller car, the S500 was smooth and easy to drive. Only about 1,300 cars were built, making it one of the rarest Honda cars ever made. Just like with motorcycles, Honda took its cars to the world of racing. In 1964, the Honda RA271 debuted in Formula One at the Belgian Grand Prix. Just 1 year later, Honda achieved its first victory in Formula One at the Mexican Grand Prix in 1965 with its new successor, the RA272. Despite initial success on the racing tracks, Honda was still behind its competitors in the automotive market. As a result, the company decided to take a break from racing and focus its efforts on building one of the most successful cars in the automotive market, the Honda Civic. The Honda Civic, launched in 1972, became one of the most popular cars in the world in the following years. One of the reasons for its success, especially in Europe and the United States, was its low fuel consumption and high efficiency in response to the oil crisis of the 1970s. While Honda motorcycles were being produced, Japan already had Nissan, Toyota, and other companies competing in the challenging automotive market. Japanese officials tried to convince Soichiro that the country did not need another car manufacturer, but he was not persuaded by their arguments. In 1963, Honda launched its first automobile, the T360 mini truck, a reliable small cargo truck. Unfortunately, the mini truck never gained much traction and was soon followed by the company's first sports car, the S500. The S500 was a two-door roadster with a 4-speed transmission capable of reaching 80 miles per hour. Although it was a smaller car, it was smooth and easy to drive. Unfortunately, only about 1,300 cars of this model were built, making it one of the rarest Honda cars ever made. Just as Soichiro did with motorcycles, Honda also took its cars to the world of racing. The Honda RA271 debuted in Formula One at the 1964 Belgian Grand Prix. In just 1 year, Honda achieved its first victory in Formula One at the 1965 Mexican Grand Prix with its new successor, the RA272. However, despite its early success on the racetrack, Honda was still far behind its competitors in the automotive market, which led the company to take a pause in racing and focus on producing the Civic. During this period, fuel shortages spread worldwide, and society developed new fuel management methods, including compound vortex controlled combustion (CVCC) technology. This technology allowed people to travel longer distances with their cars without burning too much fuel. The Honda Civic also addressed the problem of pollution caused by exhaust gases by adding a catalytic converter to its vehicles, something that other major car manufacturers did not prioritize at that time. And so, Honda quickly gained popularity in the automotive market. While Americans may have bought the Civic out of necessity, it was the Honda Accord that truly changed the game. Initially, the Honda Accord debuted as a compact hatchback but later expanded into sedans. This new model had the same fuel efficiency as the Civic, but with improved moderate size, and thanks to its ample interior space and comfort, the Honda Accord became one of the best-selling sedans in automotive history. Honda also expanded into various industries, including jets, boat engines, power equipment, and robots, to name a few. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Until next time.